Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining today. I'm Reagan Sonneban. I am a small business owner, a real estate investor, and corporate housing operator. I am so excited to have with me today my friend Tracy Koa. We have had the opportunity to get to know each other really well over the last year and a half. She is doing some of the most amazing things, and it's really diverse, truthfully, and just really excited for her to share her story, what she's been up to, what's coming up next, and just all the various irons she has in the fire. So, Tracy, welcome. Thank you so much for joining.
I'm so grateful that you have me on your show. Thank you. It's just a pleasure. Like you said, we've gotten a chance to really get to know each other well over the last year and a half, and you're as well. I mean, I really look up to you and admire you. You work so hard and you've made so much headway. Oh my gosh, it's really exciting to see. Yeah.
Well, I feel like our entire group has been really fortunate. I mean, I feel like we've gotten, so much development, personal development, professional development, and
Agreed.
I think, connecting some of the pieces to really help us, do the things that we want to do and also focus and say no to things that are, not the right things for us at different chapters in our journey.
Yeah.
I think that's been one of the biggest single things that I've gotten better at, and it certainly has not been easy, but definitely something that has taken place over that period of time. But I just, thinking about you in particular, and all the really cool things that you've done and what your own personal journey has looked like. I mean, you just relocated once again to Hawaii.
Yep.
You're a school teacher by trade. You've done a lot with speaking, motivating others, and I know that that's one of the big things that you're focused on right now. So,
Yeah.
if you don't mind, just share a little bit about kind of maybe some of the salient points of that journey along the way.
Love it. Love to. Well, like you said, I was an educator for 25 years. That's really all I knew. I started when I was pretty young. But as I got older into my 50s, it wasn't bringing me joy anymore, right? And I loved the kids though. I just didn't love the system. And I remember when I left, my students were like, "No, Miss Koa, you can't leave." And I go, "Look, guys, if I don't leave, I'm going to be the old grumpy teacher, and you do not want that. You guys don't see me grumpy, but let me tell you, I am not a good grumpy."
Mhm.
And I left. Really didn't know what I was going to do, and real estate just literally popped up on my Instagram feed, right? It was, it's like all
Yeah,
the work from home kind of things. Long
yeah.
story short, got into real estate, met with the wonderful Justin Tumanowski, and
Ah,
he really helped me navigate early on, where I kind of fit in. And for about a year and a half, I completely focused on private money lending with my good friend Pam Mullen, or Falzone. She's remarried. She's Pamela Falzone. And Pamela and I spent that year and a half, I mean, we dove into private money lending. We have a passion to share and support other people. So we figured if we're going to do this, one, we want to be really smart about doing it well for ourselves because we've got to protect our money because that's our legacy. And then we also figured we can share along the way what we're learning. So we did for that year and a half. We had a wonderful group that met every week of women investors, private money investors, and we just shared our journey. And that was really exciting. During that journey, Pamela and I started looking into co-living and maybe doing, housing for independent seniors. One of the things I've learned along this journey is you can pivot, and that's okay.
mhm.
And I'm not saying, just give up, but if you get to a place where you've mastered something and you want to shift and learn something different, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
For
And so
sure.
that's kind of what Pamela and I did. We had a partnership that was amazing. We're still dear, dear friends, but we just, we both decided to go in a different direction. So she's doing something different right now, and I moved into co-living. And I spent, after the private money lending, I spent about a year and a half just again deep dive into co-living, lived and breathed it, did everything I could, and again shared that with folks, right?
Sorry.
Oh, you're good. That's hey, this is the joy of it all is that I'm in my living room, you're in your home office.
Yeah.
We get to do this from home.
Yes,
But
love that.
so yeah, so anyway, just did some pivoting, and I love co-living. I still do co-living. I have, it's funny, the other day I was thinking, I was like, wow, you've done a lot of things. So I've owned and still own almost every asset class other than large multifamily. I don't own RV parks or mobile home parks, but long-term, short-term, mid-term rentals, small multifamily, single family, every type of co-living. So it's funny. I looked back, I go, wow, you have a broad, you could bring a lot to people, not just
Yeah.
co-living, not just private money lending. But you know what I love the most, like you said, is I really love being able to lift people up and inspire people
Hmm.
along my journey as an educator. I mean, I went through all kinds of stuff. I got divorced. I was a single mom, super hard to find housing. Um, God, we lost our home in a wildfire. I mean, you name it. Like, my mom passed away in hospice at our house, and my dad passed away. It's like, I look back and go, how did I even make it here? Now I've moved. I sent a kid off to college. Like, so that inspiration is, I love sharing that with other people. And so while I'm still in real estate, of course, because I love it and that's what really pays the bills, I really enjoy supporting other people and sharing my journey and just sharing, like, you might be where I was 2 years ago. And I know it feels really hard and really heavy. Here's some of the tools that I use to get to where I'm at today. So, yeah,
That's amazing.
thank
And
you.
as you kind of walk through that journey and you think about, all of the things that we go through, the life side of things, I mean, that's going to happen. And, it's kind of building up the resilience and the mindset to be able to see, like, okay, here's what's in front of me right now, and what is the best way I can react to, whatever's going on at the moment. And,
Right.
I mean, as you talk about those different major life things that you've been through, in this recent period of time, I mean, you've had a lot of major life things thrown at you in a short period of time, and you're still smiling. That's amazing.
Well, I am right now. Like you catch me yesterday at like 2 and I maybe was crying. But it's all part of the journey, and it's like, how do you come back and get yourself centered, right? And
Hmm.
I'll be, I say I'll be honest. I'm always honest. Like, I'm honest to a fault. I share probably more than I should sometimes. But honestly, yesterday I had a really hard day. I'd miss my daughter like nobody's business. Any of you that are watching and you've got a kid that went off to college, I feel you. I mean, it is
Yeah.
like, ah. And I had a rough day yesterday. And so last night I was, just relaxing, and I love The Amazing Race. I could never do it, but I love watching it. And I just kind of chilled out. And before I went to bed, I just said, all right, look, girl, tomorrow's a new day. You're going to wake up. You're going to get rid of this bad attitude that you have that's making you feel sad and in a funk. You're
Hmm.
going to wake up. You're going to write out your gratitudes. You're going to do some journaling, and you're going to get yourself in a better place tomorrow. And that's what I did. And I woke up, and the first thing that pops in your mind sometimes is like that negative talk. And it did. And I was like, whoa, hold up. Nope, we're not doing that today. No,
Hmm.
we're not doing that today. And I sat up and I grabbed my journal and I was like, all right, we're turning that tune into something different right now.
Love that.
Yeah, yeah,
There's definitely something to that whole thing about how you kind of start your day. And I mean, at this point, we all have different routines, but, like thinking about like starting off the day with some really high energy, positive music that kind of gets you off to the right foot, or, whatever that looks like, just little routines that we can kind of layer into, how we kind of channel and control our mindset. Now,
right.
so I know, of course, at least as far as I'm aware, aside from teaching, you haven't really specifically done things around mindset and wellness and all of that. But I know you've got something coming up in that regard. Fill me in a
Yeah,
little more about what that's
yeah.
going to look like.
Well, and you want to know what's funny? We don't, I say this often, is that those of us that were in this real estate world and we got to know each other, 2, 3, 4 years ago, we don't talk a lot about what we did before, but
Right.
actually, I have a degree in social and emotional learning with a big focus on mindfulness, and I was a yoga instructor, and I helped found a nonprofit where I actually taught mindfulness to youth, and so it is really a huge part of what I do. When I was an educator, I was always embedded in my education, and especially the social emotional learning, which is really so important in life, right? Is most of us, I'm in my early 50s. When I grew up, you did not talk about your feelings ever, ever. It was like if I started to cry, my dad was like, I'll give you something to cry about. You better knock that off, right? And
Mhm.
so I think that's a really important skill for people to learn. So anyway, yeah, it's something I love and I have had some experience with, but in the real estate realm, I really haven't done much other than in my, my social media. I love to try to, lift folks up. But my good friend Kristyn Cozad and I are going to do a workshop called Create 2026. It's in
Wow.
January of 2026. It's going to be in Phoenix, Arizona on the 6th and 7th of January. And we decided it's called Create 2026 because we decided that real estate is a hustle harder game. And it's almost like if you aren't a martyr, you're not doing it, right? Like if you're not, am I
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so we really wanted an opportunity to just bring people together that, by the way, if it sounds like I'm breathing heavy, it's my dog that's right next to me. It is not me.
Okay.
She's,
Oh, I get it. I have two that could come in at any moment.
that's right. That's right. And she heard yours barking and she's like, "What's happening? No, we're not
Mhm.
playing with your toy right now." So, anyway, we really wanted an opportunity to bring people together that wanted to make a change, wanted to really be mindful in how they're building their business and how they're stepping into every day. So, really talking about and sharing tools on getting rooted in like your clarity, your emotional intelligence, leading with your heart. These are things that can be very challenging to hold tight with when you're hustling, when you're working really hard every day, when
Mhm.
you're in partnerships, when you're negotiating deals with people. And so that's our goal is to bring people together. It'll be a 2-day workshop where we can really dive into strategies and tools that help people again just that emotional clarity coming from your heart. How do you get back to that space when you're in a meeting with people and it's going sideways and you can feel it welling up? And that's those make it or
Mhm.
break it moments, in my opinion, when you can step forward, be the person that shows up as your best self with love, compassion, or you can just cave to that inner voice that's like, F these guys, like, this isn't gonna, I'm an East Coaster, like, I'm from Jersey, don't get me started, kind of thing. So, it really, and then building the other pieces, how do we build these authentic relationships? Because real estate is all about relationship.
100%.
You can build a lot of relationships that are unauthentic,
Mhm.
but it takes time and effort and energy to build true, authentic relationships. And that's something I pride myself in. It's something I've gotten a lot of really great feedback about. And there's a skill to that. I'm not saying it's a manipulative thing, but there is a
Right.
skill to how you build those type of relationships that are lasting, but also keeping boundaries because that's also really, really important. So,
For sure.
yeah. So we're excited about that. We're in the midst, it's a lot. You've done workshops.
Mhm. Yep.
So it sounds great in your head. You're like, oh my gosh, and you've got the passion, the ideas, and now we're in the
Mhm.
midst of oh, what's the venue? And here's the this, and what about the funnel? And how are they right today? You know what I'm doing today
Yeah.
is how are we going to accept money, right? So we've got
Yeah.
PayPal and Squarespace and the this and yeah. So Lot that
It's
goes
true.
behind that.
There's so much of the things on the periphery of it that can easily distract you from, really the core of the workshop itself. And I know I definitely found myself, with that challenge. And it's like you've got to have boundaries with that, and make sure that you set your time aside to develop the curriculum, or what will be presented and all of
Yes,
that, and not get too caught up in all those other things. So
that's
I
right.
can imagine, and I understand. Actually, as I think about it, like I had a workshop last year in January. It was late January, and so I was very much in tandem with the timing that you're in right now.
Yes.
So definitely understand all the things that go into that. But I really think a lot of what you were saying is so true, because thinking about the intensity of what our day to day looks like. And I agree that we all work very closely together, and I
Yeah,
think
sure.
our group has done a remarkable job of giving everyone permission to kind of be vulnerable. And I think that's amazing, because that just kind of allows everyone to be really real. And you're right, you can't cross that line, though, of going between that and really turning it. And I forgot the wording you said now. I lost it, but I thought it was really good the way that you articulated that, because all the things that are going on in your head, and all the things that like you mentioned even a minute ago, I think, with because I'm in my early 50s as well. So we're very much in that same space, where you got kids going to college, but you got parents dealing, with different things. And so it's like, those things are a reality that we're dealing with. And we've just kind of got to be real, that, where does that layer in with all of the other stuff? And you're right. I mean, as you think about all of the deals that we deal with, together, as we work on, various, sometimes ad hoc, sometimes long-term partnerships, if nothing else, something is going to go sideways in real estate. And you don't really know
Always.
how people are going to deal with that until it happens. And,
Right.
is it going to be finger pointing, or is it going to be problem solving? And,
Right. Yeah.
just got to kind of figure all of that out. And I think, the ability to be really real with each other, and to be vulnerable, and to be like, here's what I've got going on in my life right now. And I'm fully
That,
dialed in on, whatever this is. But, maybe it's like, we're going to my younger daughter's first college visit tomorrow. I mean, that's a big real thing going on in my life, and it's like that ways. I was just on a call with siblings last night, talking about, helping out with some different things with my mom. So we all have those things going
yeah.
on. It's like everything we're working on here is so important, but we also have to give ourselves permission to be able to attend to all of those other things that are really everybody's why for everything we're doing.
I love how you said that. It's our why. And I think
Mhm.
we forget that often. I think a lot, for me, it's a lot about grace, having grace for people. I want people that I work with to have grace for me, and I'll have grace for them. Because, like you said, there's so much happening in our lives as people. And being an entrepreneur and owning your business and partnering with other people, I feel one of the benefits that's so different than a W 2 is I want to be able to show up and be vulnerable. If we're partnering on something, I want to be able to hop on a meeting and go, hey, so look, I woke up today and I'm just, oh, I miss my daughter so much. And I'm really so, if I'm mopey, or if I am not, don't seem like myself, that's why, just letting you know. You really can't do that at most W-2s, right? They're like,
Right.
I could care less, um, and the other thing too is we might be in partnerships today, and it's a different season for each of
Mhm.
us, right? And then maybe in 6 months or a year, we're in another partnership. Well, we're in a different season in our life. And I might react differently than I did at the last time we partnered, because something's going on in life that's positive or negative or whatever, none of the
Mhm.
above. But again, I just think it comes down to being a leader that has the ability to reflect on themselves, have
Mhm.
grace and compassion for others. We need those leaders, right?
Mhm.
Now, what I'm about to say, don't take this the wrong way, guys, because I love all ya. Women are just, we are nurturers and innately we have a little bit more of that compassion.
Hmm.
In this, what I've found for me in this real estate hustle, I've noticed that I've gotten harder and I've been less graceful than I would like to be.
Hmm.
And I realized maybe like 6 months ago, I caught myself in a meeting and I was like, oh my gosh, who are you? Who is this person? I don't like this person. I don't like your tone of voice. I don't like how you just spoke to that person. I don't like what you
Hmm.
said. Like, and I apologized. I reflected. This was after the meeting, and I came back, at a later date, and I was like, I'm gonna work on that. I don't like that. And I
Hmm.
realized that I had really stepped out of the place that I had built for myself as a person. My mornings were less around compassion to others and loving kindness and the things that I'd been doing when I was an educator, especially because I taught a lot of mindfulness. And I was more centered on this making money, right? And a
Hmm.
lot of my morning stuff was about, I'm a successful entrepreneur and all the things, right? Which is all important. But I realized I had lost my way. And
Right.
that's part of what inspires me to do this workshop because I think that can happen easy, and or you've just never had that routine, or you didn't even realize that you can be a compassionate leader and a badass and a successful entrepreneur all at one
Hmm.
time.
So true. I love that. That's a great way to frame it. And, I'm just so excited for you and for Kristen. I think
Thanks.
this is such a great endeavor. How did the two of you start working on this concept together to begin with?
Great question. I don't know. I think I'm pretty sure she brought it up. We've become great friends through Owners Club.
Hmm.
We traveled a little bit before I moved to Hawaii.
Hmm.
I wasn't sure if I was coming back to Hawaii or going to move to California, back to
Hmm.
California. I was in Oregon. And we were at a retreat in Monterey, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to spend the next week traveling down the coast, kind of checking out some cities in California along the coast. Do you want to come along for the ride?" Oh my gosh, we had so much fun. We ate a lot of pastries and drank a lot of good coffee. What a great time we had. So we really got to know each other well on a more intimate level, and we started just enjoying being friends. And we're very similar in our desire to support people and help lift people up and share with
Sure.
them our experiences and the tools that we have that have helped us just stay grounded. So yeah, I'm sure she's the one that brought it up. And it's the first thing we're doing together. And so, all the things I just talked about, we're doing together. We're having grace with each other. We're on calls all the time, planning this. There's a lot of ins and outs, a lot of decisions that have to be made. And it's easy to get frustrated and be like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know." And so we've had a couple calls where, we get off and we're like, "Oh." And but because we are who we are, we'll send a memo like, "Hey, oh, sorry, that was the puppy." We'll send a message to each other, "Hey, I love you and you are so good." And I was not my best at the end of that call. So forgive me. Just know that we're so excited to work on this, that whatever it takes to communicate and get through. And it's kind of cool. It's like as we're working through that, it is it speaks volumes to the fact that this is what we want to bring to other people.
Sure.
Yeah.
Love that. And you're right. As you go through that process, inevitably, there are going to be those times where the reality of, you know, all the volume of things that have to be done, how that kind of hits you. And, you just it's good to be able to have that kind of rapport where, you can do that and just take that breather that you need and come back at it next time and be
Yeah.
fresh and ready to go.
Yeah. And especially, as you're working with new partners, you could be friends with somebody and then
Yep.
you get into a partnership and you're learning a different communication style, right?
Hmm.
And that's a huge thing also that we'll talk about because as you're getting in, you'll be in a lot of partnerships in real estate or business. Does not just have to be to people involved in real estate. This could be
Right.
anybody. You can take these skills to your W-2, to a
Hmm.
different type of business that you have at home with your family, your friends.
Hmm.
Because again, every season of life, we're interpreting things differently based
Hmm.
on how we feel at the moment. We're taking these things on and our perspective might be different, hence our response is different. And so
Hmm.
it's all about learning those different communication styles, how to be open, how to receive things, all the things. So I'm really excited about it. It's really fun and it feels amazing to take a skill that I've been working on and building through my educational career and move it into real estate and also hopefully even broader community.
Well, best of luck with the workshop. I'm so
Thanks.
happy for you guys. For those who are considering this workshop or other workshops, something that occurred to me as you were kind of sharing that last bit there is one of the things that I've found when I've had my own workshop or attended other workshops is that one of the things that's so great about it is that you're with a small group and sometimes you get to know people better that you didn't know before. So the content itself 100% is amazing and great, but those relationships and just having that small group one-on-one time and
Yeah.
staying up late at night and sharing a hotel room or whatever,
Yep.
having coffee in the morning and learning people's little idiosyncrasies and all of that, that's so much of what the great value in those is. And I hope that you have a
Agree.
wonderful turnout. I hope that
Thank you.
everyone that's able to make it is able to take full advantage of just the richness of the full experience. So
Thank
best,
you. Yeah.
best of
Thank you.
luck with that
I
and
appreciate
all the
it.
next things.
Yeah. Thank you for having me and giving me an opportunity to share about our workshop. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Of
It's great
course.
to see you as well.
Wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
we will see you soon. Thanks everyone for joining, and we'll share information on the workshop and other ways that you can work with Tracy as well.
That's right.